This episode of Profiles in Risk is sponsored by Zywave. Insurers, brokers, and agencies are facing escalating risk and rising complexity. Only Zywave delivers a performance multiplier, equipping you with the tools to get risk right, unlock efficiency, and scale at new speeds. Find out more at 𝗧𝗵𝗶𝘀.com.
Hello and welcome to Profiles in Risk. This is your host,
Thank
𝗧𝗵𝗶𝘀𝗀, and today I'm recording with Chak Kolli, PhD, CTO at Magile Software. So Chak, thank you for joining me today. How's it going?
Thank you very much, Tony, for having me here.
My pleasure.
Things are fine. Where we are here, it's actually very sunny today. It's late October, but in New Jersey.
So you're in the side of New Jersey, close to New York, right? Am I correct in that?
Yes, I'm within commutable distance to New York. I'm about 40 miles southwest of.
Late October and nice and sunny. That's
Yes.
lucky.
Yeah, it's not bad at all. It's been warm actually the last few days. Only in the last few days, I think it's become a little bit more colder, but it's very sunny, and it's not like October here. Typically, it's different than the norm for this area.
All right. So we always give the guest a chance to give the elevator pitch. What is Magile Software?
Yes. So I started Magile Software after realizing that, look, the insurance industry needs to address the risk of newer technologies. And I had two newer technologies in mind when I started, but then I started focusing on the second one. The first one was clearly anything to do with crypto and what is happening with enterprises and that are using crypto and the blockchain and the distributed ledger technologies. The other one was AI. And then I realized once I started, then ChatGPT became popular, and I realized, look, I think AI is being I think insurance companies are not really understanding the risk of using AI, and that's how I started. So what we do at Magile Software is our stated mission is to help enterprise manage the risk of using AI. And that leads us to the insurance space, where clearly risk transfer, the risk of using AI and transferring that risk to insurance entities is clearly one of the things that any enterprise will have to factor in. And that's what we are helping insurance carriers address that risk. So in short, what we have done is to address that risk properly. I realized that we have to quantify the risk, and we have an algorithm to holistically quantify the risk of an enterprise using AI. So that's where that's a short page summary of what we do here.
Okay, so holistically quantify the risk of an enterprise using AI with a focus on insurance organizations specifically.
Exactly. Yes, and for an insurance company to help transfer the risk from an enterprise, they need to understand the risk, right? And they need to quantify that risk before they can do anything with it. So that's why we've started focusing on that. But what we do here is provide the tooling necessary for an insurance carrier to essentially assess the risk and manage the risk by providing explicit AI insurance products. At Magile Soft, we firmly believe that AI insurance needs to be explicit, which I believe will protect both the enterprises and insurance entities compared to other products that are insurance products that are in the industry today. So, and we'll talk a little bit about that in detail later on. So.
Yeah, how does the tool work?
So the tool is a software as a service, basically underpinned by an algorithm, and over top of that algorithm, we are creating services to help the underwriter with the information needed to assess a potential insured and the risk they pose if the underwriter were to insure that risk, that AI risk. So it's essentially a software service that provides various functionalities for the insurance carrier, whether it's underwriter or many other functions. We are initially focused on the algorithm and providing that insights to the underwriter about the risk of a potential insured. The mechanism, look, the way we have developed this over a period of time is to provide that insights about the risk via API calls or through a browser or an app, right? So there are multiple ways to do it. The whole idea is to let insurance carriers coming into this new market of AI insurance to essentially get the information they require into a form that they would want the information to be presented, right? See, many of them have their own underwriting workbenches, so the tool can integrate with that workbench. But at its core, it's a software as a service. The whole idea here is to let many of the small to medium-sized insurance companies to get into this market of emerging market of AI insurance very fast, right? Yes, having said that, we are talking to many of the large insurers, but the whole idea is to provide it as a SaaS, so small to medium-sized insurers also benefit from an emerging opportunity, right, to insure the risk and essentially grow the business in this area.
Okay, so you're actually talking about how do we insure risks that use AI?
It's the let's actually rephrase it. It's
Okay.
about any enterprise using AI faces many risks, right? And those risks in the industry, in any industry, are underrepresented as of today. I think the chatter around risks that an enterprise will have if they use AI is increasing slowly, right? Like I think a lot of academic institutions are basically sounding the alarm bells on the risks with AI and how an enterprise should, and that the fact that their enterprise should first acknowledge that there's a risk here in terms of their industry, and then they need to understand how to manage that risk. And one way to manage is to clearly do a risk transfer to insurers. So where we come in is to help the insurers define an explicit AI insurance product, which does not exist.
That's exactly what I was going. I have not heard
Yes,
of that existing.
look, there is some chatter now, right? Like many insurers are thinking about it. They're thinking about entering this market in the form of endorsements to existing insurance products. But we believe that an explicit AI insurance product is needed in the market. And there are many reasons, right? There are multiple reasons why you would want to pull AI risk as a separate into a separate insurance product category, right? And I can give you examples. Like, for example, if you look at professional liability insurance today, right? Many of these products cover professionals for errors and omissions, right? So the interesting thing is, let's look at two cases here. What if AI is the professional, right? And you can see there's a lot of chatter in the press about AI taking many of the jobs, right? Especially professional jobs. If AI is the professional, do current professional liability policies cover the risk of that professional making a mistake, right? And the answer is no. Like, I don't think traditional professional liability policies are meant for that, right?
Definitely not meant for it.
Yes.
What would the courts say? We don't know yet.
Yes, we don't know yet. But again, because the interesting thing in that scenario is the scale of AI matters a lot, right? Look, typically professional liability policies talk about a professional making an error, right? Or a mistake, right? But with AI, you're talking about by the time you realize it, there could be thousands of those kind of errors, right? Because of the scale, right? We're not talking about an individual professional, right? So the other scenario is, what if a human professional uses AI to support her work, right? The issue, though, is that considered reasonable professional, I think, activity, considering that everybody knows that AI outputs are not deterministic, right? Many times they may not, you should not assume what they will give as output, right? They're not deterministic outputs, right? So given that, will the insurer insuring professional liability insurance consider reasonably professional advice that they give to their clients, right? And the answer is it's a gray area, and most likely not, right? So that's one example. And then we can go through the host of other things. For example, if you look at EPLI insurance, right? Employment Practices Liability Insurance. Look, EPLI is meant for humans, especially in the HR professions, to ensure that they're not doing discriminatory decisions and so on, right? There's no bias and so on. But again, these are individualistic scenarios, right? Where one individual making a mistake, yeah, EPLI could cover that, right? The reality is, again, same scenario if AI is that HR professional, or if the HR uses AI to make a decision, right? There could be bias and discrimination coming into the picture. And again, bias and discriminatory risks are well known in the industry, right, with AI. Depends on the training data, right? Then there are scenarios like, for example, if you look at basically product liability, right? Insurance. I think product liability was really meant for harm, right? Bodily harm and injury. Typically, that's what a product you deploy. Thing with AI products is that it's not a one and done thing. They're constantly learning and they're changing, right? So, and also, look, in my EV car, I see a lot of autonomous updates coming through. I don't think a product liability was meant for a constant change of these things, right? You deploy a product and basically product liability is ensuring if bodily harm or injury happens from that, right? But in this world of AI, AI being the product or a product using AI, the long host of other risks that come into play, right? So product liability will not cover that. So where I'm going with this is there are risks in many of the traditional insurance products that an enterprise will have in the normal course of business. And many of those risks, many of the risks coming out of their use of AI may not be covered by their current set of insurance products that they have, right? That they insure with. And I think that's why we have spent quite a bit of time in the last 1 year to essentially evangelize that you need to start looking at these risks, right? And if you look at the academic world, and also, for example, MIT, right? MIT has a AI risk database that is up to about 1,600 different risks categorized into about 7 domains. So it's important that an enterprise looks at these risks and make sure they are adequately protected. And the numerous examples, right? For a long time, being in the AI field in the insurance industry, I have evangelized the human plus AI kind of basically business processes, right? We always said, let's keep a human in the loop into the business process to essentially mitigate the risk of AI making bad decisions in the business process. What I realized recently, and this is something that came as a surprise to me, and this clearly is supported by research, a human in the business process, what they're finding, what researchers are finding is that humans are actually abdicating their responsibility in the business process. They're saying, hey, AI is doing it, let it go through, right? And that came as a surprise to me. We always advocated for human in the loop to ensure AI outcomes are a little bit more deterministic and do not cause any business interruption, right? But what I think researchers are seeing in the real world with the leading enterprises using AI is that humans in the loop are actually not doing their job. And that's a big risk. So that leads to business interruption. And I don't think any business interruption policies will cover that, right? Knowing fully well that AI risk is out there and you're not addressing that. So that's what why we evangelized the explicit need for explicit AI insurance products in the market. And I think insurers have a clear business case, at least the leading insurers, to come into the space. Initially, you can have, I think, good premiums. You'll have growth. And also, more importantly, ultimately, you will be able to capture data, some historical data, because there is not much historical data in this space, right? Because these are new technologies. And so you can actually hold the data, and you will have an advantage if you are first movers in this space as an insurer.
So it reminds me a lot. This was a little bit before my time, but reminds me a lot of the creation of the cyber policies.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
Which just feel like they finally kind of matured after about 20 years.
Yes. Yes, in fact, you're totally right, Tony. Like we are expecting AI insurance products to follow the similar path to cyber. Even though there's an interesting angle here, right? Like AI is a little bit more, AI risks are more holistic. They also include cyber risks as part of the AI risk, right? It's about protecting the training data and things like that, right? So cyber is part of the AI risk profile, but that's just one part, right? So cyber products will not cover things like prompt injections. So what I mean is that you can go to ChatGPT and actually put in some prompts that will probably give you some private, basically data that's private, right? So there are issues beyond cyber here with AI, but cyber is part of that AI risk profile. You're right, and that's why we think that this may follow the same path as cyber. But what we say is that, look, the movement of the industry is so fast. You cannot go this side, take it easy like the way I think insurers and enterprises took care of cyber, right? It took a long time actually for cyber to mature. I think AI insurance has to mature much faster than cyber. What happened with cyber? That's what we advocate to our clients.
It just seems so very, very risky. The combination of the fact that it's non-deterministic, that it creatively comes up with new stuff, and we can set some boundaries around it. And then you described it very well. The fact that the policies historically were created for one human making a mistake.
Yeah.
If the mistake's being made by AI, it might have been made thousands of times before you realize that a particular type of mistake is being made and causing significant damage.
Exactly. The scale is totally different. Yeah.
like it's hard to get my head around a carrier that's going to be comfortable covering that type of very exponential risk.
Yes, and it will take time, right? Like that's why I think the first step in that process is to find a way to quantify the risk, right? First,
absolutely
identify the risks and quantify, right? So what I thought about, and that's why I focused on creating that quantification mechanism to come up with some way to say that, look, relatively. Compared to others in the industry or compared to your own past actions, this is where your risk is currently as an enterprise, and an underwriter can use that information along with other mechanisms to get into this market. And to answer your question, right, yes, it is risky, but I think the opportunity is there, and the technologies are there to help insurers actually understand this risk and get ahead by providing a new product. and probably in the process grow their business, right? It's an opportunity for an insurance carrier to get into this space, as long as you understand the risks and are able to quantify and also manage and mitigate the risks of the insureds. And that's where we come in. That's exactly what we are providing as a software service to help insurance carriers get into this market. And we are a little bit ahead of the curve in the sense the market is still evolving, and we are in that evangelization phase and telling insurers that you need to start getting into this, understand. Because if you do not address, right, look, let's look at the other way, right? If you keep quiet and not do anything about creating a new product, you're still exposed with your current policies. There are a lot of gray areas here, and your customers who currently have probably many policies with you with these various products may not be happy when they realize that you're not covering when an AI incident happens, right? So, and the range of products I typically talk about are like, look, I mentioned product liability, professional liability, EPLI, IP liability, right? Media liability, cyber, right? All the general liability, all of them have gaps. You may have all of them, but you'll still have gaps when it comes to AI, because typically an AI risk straddles multiple of these insurance products. So an insurer can't be silent and ignore this, because they will be, they still have the exposure, right? Because the courts, we are in a gray area, but at the same time, your customers will not be happy if they realize that their current multitude of policies don't cover a potential software risk that arises out of using AI, right? And also, Tony, the real issue is one of our missions is to promote industry use of AI. Recently, MIT and a few others have come up with a research that says that only about 5% of AI initiatives go into actual production. And there are various reasons for that. And one of the reasons is clearly risk. And that's what we say, right? Unless you understand the risk and manage the risk and know that there's a risk transfer mechanism out there, I don't think any enterprise will really go into use of AI in their core business processes. Yes, they can do on the CRM side, maybe a little bit on the HR side and other non-core functions of an enterprise, but they will not get into this, into productionizing their AI applications without understanding that there's a risk transfer mechanism out there, right? That there are insurers helping them transfer the risk. And I think that will be a shame, because I think there's a lot of innovation with AI, and companies can be more productive, and you need to look at using AI. But it's not enough to just do proof of concepts and proof of values. You have to really productionize to get the benefits, right? And before you do that, you should understand the risks and look at carriers to provide you some sort of a cover, right, if something goes wrong.
Are we likely to start seeing the first few actual insurance products for this come out of the Lloyd's market, come out of the E&S market?
Yes, I do expect, and I know since 1 year I have seen some change in this space. People talk about it, especially in the endorsement space. What I have seen is a scenario where you insure the risk of using one model, which is kind of strange. Like let's say many companies, their employees start using ChatGPT to generate marketing reports and things like that, right? Yes, some people are thinking about insuring that, but that's just one use within enterprise, right? Like there are a lot of other models out there and so on. Yes, the space, I think that is coming. Clearly, there are some signs of there's a realization that you should get into this market. But look, I think the endorsement aspect, I think ISO did something in Arizona. Arizona is use and files. I remember the exact terminology, right? So you can actually, so they did an endorsement. I think they filed something in Arizona. So I think this is coming. It's just a matter of time before.
Okay, so if ISO is testing endorsements, then it's coming sooner rather than later, right? It's not just being played in Bermuda and London.
No, it will definitely play in London. I think Lloyd's will be one of the first ones to really get deeper into it. And instantly, one of my in my previous job, where I was the global CTO at DXC Insurance, I worked with Lloyd's of London, and one of the things that I saw is that Lloyd's actually it does take in newer kind of risks that are too not too obvious and to really underwrite, right? So I do expect Lloyd's to make a big player, become a big player in this space. Look, people are talking about it. People do advertise that they have something, but what we are saying is, look, you need to have this holistic understanding of the risk itself before you jump into this. And and I think that's what happened with cyber, right? Initially, many insurers jumped into cyber without understanding and how to manage and mitigate the cyber risk, right? And then over a period of time, they learned how to do that, and newer technologies and so on, right? So yes, I think these are coming. It's just there is a lot of chatter around it, by the way. Many of the conferences do talk about have some panel session around this about AI risk. So,
all right. I'm surprised that nobody had brought it up before on the podcast. I guess because nobody's launched it. But very cool. And yeah, now that you mention it does make sense that for a lot of our existing policies, it's going to have to be addressed one way or another.
Yes, and again, an interesting thing is we actually codified an agent, an AI agent, to identify the gaps between what an enterprise today has with their multitude of policies versus AI risks. And what these agents are finding is that globally, right, there's a lot of litigation around many of these risks, a lot of gray areas, and in some cases, courts have clearly said, especially outside the US, courts have said that no, this is not covered. Basically, courts ruled in favor of insurers. That's what our agents are finding. So we have that what we call as a gap analysis agent to identify the gaps in what they have today, and if they use AI in a prominent way, what are will these products cover their risk, right? And we are getting some interesting results out of that. And look, information is out there. Especially a lot of law firms are very involved in this space, by the way, because they see an opportunity, right, for growth in their business, and they are thinking about it, writing about it. They're talking to regulators. Regulators are clearly looking at this stuff. Even though I think there are not many ways to quantify the risk, and while there's a way to look at a risk and understand on a model by model basis, right, like ChatGPT and so on, the reality is an enterprise is very holistic, right? You have different functions in enterprise, and they could be using different models and different types of AI technologies, and not just the latest technologies, right? It's also the predictive technologies. So a holistic assessment of that is extremely important, and that's why we started this. And our algorithm actually comes up with that with a holistic assessment, resulting in an index score. So basically, a score that says, "Look, this is where you are in terms of risk." And the idea is the underwriter will look at it. They'll understand what the various dimensions of this holistic assessment are, and what it means, and should I really insure, right? And also, look, underwriters today can look at this stuff to say, look, what we are covering out there today, will we really get hit, right? If something really happens to their insured, if we don't provide if we don't do an endorsement, excluding some of the AI risks, they may be hit. Right? So I think that's why we are. So that's where the industry is, and we are. I think there's a lot of chatter around this, so it's growing. The awareness is growing, and we ourselves spend a lot of time in the last 1 year talking about this.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for your time today. Super interesting. When this goes live, I'll tag you on LinkedIn.
Yes.
And yeah, I look forward to see what the industry comes up with and how it starts getting deployed.
Oh, great. Thank you very much for hosting me.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.